PSG, Messi, and financial fair play. So where do we begin? Well, first of all, we'll have to talk about financial fair play as a whole. And yeah, financial fair play was designed by UEFA to keep clubs from spending more money than they got in. And so, because a lot of clubs had a lot of debt and they couldn't pay off the debt, they used too much money on transfers and such. But wages and transfers are the only things that are covered by FFP. The owners can use as much money as they want on infrastructure like stadiums, like training facilities, all that sort of good stuff. Wages and transfers has to be financed by ticket sales, TV money, all that good stuff. And the original rules were that clubs could spend up to 5 million euros more than they earned per assessment period. So if they earned 100 million euros in a year from ticket sales, from TV revenue, so on, they could spend 105 million on transfers and on wages. If the owners could cover it up, total losses of 45 million euros were permitted, as long as the owners could cover for it. Now, Barcelona has been overspending for a lot of years, and the rules of La Liga are really, really strict. You can only spend as much as you're projected to make, not what you made last season. You're projected to make the coming season. So Barcelona, they had a salary cost limit at 671 million euros, which is insane. Messi was reported to have a wage of $70 million. Euros, sorry. And yeah, that was fair. I mean, they could afford him, certainly. But then they... how much did they... yeah. They put that down a bit when the pandemic hit, down to 347 million last season. Which is about half of what they had. And now it's reported to fall between 160 million and 200 million. Which would be insane. You can't have a player who gets like 70 million euros per year. Not even half that. And the rumors are, and what's reported is that Messi would accept being paid half of what his usual wage was. And if he was the only player, or the only of 2 or 3 players in the club, that would be dandy. But as it would have it, Barcelona has a lot of stars. They have a lot of important players, and good players. So they had nothing to offer him. Not anything. And that's why he went to another club. And the sad story is that last year he wanted to leave, but he couldn't. And this year he had to leave, but he didn't want to. And yeah, the press conference he had was heartbreaking. The man was hurting a lot. And yeah, PSG and Ligue and financial fair play is not as restrictive. They are supposed to do that very restrictive wage gap as well, but they have pushed it back a couple of years just because of the pandemic, and they've raised the loss margins just because of the pandemic. So much has happened. And yeah, PSG is owned by Qatar, they can cover for a lot of costs. Yeah, and that's why they could afford it. And if we now take a look at Transfermarkt, this is also why you can see that they have spent so much money on transfers. And the ones they haven't spent anything on, they get insane wages. Messi is reported to still make 35 million euros a year. And Wijnaldum isn't cheap. Sergio Ramos must be hella expensive. As well as Donnarumma, who was the best player in the Euros. As well as Ashraf Hakimi for 60 million euros. And Danilo Pereira for 10 million. Yeah, Mitch. Exactly. Messi couldn't even stay for free. If he wanted to. They just had to get rid of him. And this is the result of a long spell of mismanagement and squandered money. They always seem to sign some weird players on insane wages. And Coutinho hasn't been a good deal for them. He's good. He's really good. He's a good football player. But he is paid a lot. And most of the players, as reported, have already taken cuts as well. Yeah, so that's entirely nuts. And yeah, further down the line, Ligue 1 will have to spend. Ligue 1 clubs will have to spend a maximum of 70% of their revenue. And PSG could certainly not afford these players if that had been in effect right now. Yeah. So this really brings up the question, is fair play fair play? Financial fair play, I mean? It certainly doesn't seem like it when you have all these loopholes for the biggest clubs. It only seems to hurt the smaller clubs in Barcelona. Which, yeah. Financial unfair play, yeah. I think the UEFA president referred to it as financial doping, which I really like as a term. You see a lot of clubs do this. The two last Champions League finalists, Chelsea and Manchester City, 20 years ago they weren't anything. They were small clubs, which then got bought up by rich and rich people. It got, yeah, bought by rich people. And yeah, that's many things of the many things that have been criticized for the financial fair play is that everyone sort of circumvents everything when it comes to financial fair play. It's nuts. It's totally nuts. Manchester City somehow got away with it, despite being charged with a 2-year European ban. Yeah, they got away with it. The lawyers probably found some technical loophole. I remember Chelsea being hit with a 1-year transfer ban, and that stuck. But yeah, they can circumvent about anything now. Yeah, and I forgot to say this, but also PSG's revenue for 2019-20 was 541 million euros, and the wage bill was at 405 million euros. And yeah, they say that they have brought in a lot of money by sales and stuff, But if we have a look, if we look back at Transfermarkt here, that's certainly not right. They haven't sold anyone. So the costs must be covered by the owners. Must be insane. Like, you got Areola and Michel Bakker for 7 million. They these guys don't. These guys don't have a lot of wage, I'm sure. So yeah, that's totally insane. So yeah, that's the financial fair play debacle. This has totally been a football manager sort of transfer window.